Fun. Games begin. Well, look, you want to show up. We'll look to start. Alright, watch my mask somewhere amongst all this crap. So, yeah. I'll go and change it. Yeah, it's not. Oh, let's see. I'm not just for sure. So, let's see which doctors show up this time. It's my fault for always doing these things so freaking weird, right? I hope everyone has a good Halloween when I'm watching. Just like I like. Nothing better than being irrelevant. Damn it. You see if I said I see the show up. Well, if they don't chat, I'm just going to assume they're stalkers. So, yeah. Or troll. Same difference, whatever. Hello, kiddies. I hope you had a good Halloween. Oh, now two people show up. Y'all just missed the cool voice thing again. Y'all suck. Well, if you're not going to say hi, I'm going to assume that you're just fucking some weird stalkers that just are trying to violate me. Oh, how did I know you'd show up? I just had a feeling. I was like, man, if TJ don't even show up, shit. I'm like, nah. And well, I gave you the page last night. I figured you at least would took a gander at it, you know? But no, man, that was a crazy ass shit. Basically, from what I knew, and at least what I can talk about, um, after, and then yeah, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Dixie Mafia because there's like at least they say like 25, 30 murders, but in reality, it's probably more like 100 plus or so. And then people talk about serial killer Pee Gaskins, and it's never been confirmed or whatever if he was even a member of the group. But I know a large portion of the Dixie Mafia in, in Florida, and because of that, they now basically became part of the reason that now the Outlaws and the Renegades and all that biker gangs exist now. And it was so weird that I was reading that thing that you sent me last night, and I'm like, where have I heard this shit before? I'm like, no. I've heard this somewhere. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, because my family used to be involved in that kind of shit. Yeah, basically, uh, easiest way to put it is, yeah, the same ones that you fucking outlaws now were Dixie. Well, I wouldn't say were because I mean technically, what they call the Dixie Mafia now, it's just like a loose bunch of groups of organized, somewhat organized um, crime gangs and all this other stuff. You know, just lone groups and stuff like that. It's not actually like it was. And for a long time, it was, and it's still rumored. I honestly do not know myself. even though I have like a lot of connections to it. But Lyndon B. Johnson himself is said to possibly have been, sorry, I'm walking around, a founding member of the Dixie Mafia. See, they got their origins. Well, most people say they get their origins in like 1960s, but that's not entirely true. Mainly, they started with, I think it was like in the 40s or the 50s, I think, when Al Capone and all them were running around and alcohol was legal. I forget what that was called. At least the term that's used for it. Anyways, okay. Basically, it was a group of organized, loose, freelancing criminals. Basically, they all met up in prison at different times, and they all there were certain rules that once you fit with what they wanted, which right away from you had to have no issue whatsoever with being very violent. I mean, very, very violent. Like basically, every member I can know of or whatever, you're talking about the worst of the worst. They also ran around helping people like Al Capone and the real mob. There was another group actually called the Straight Line Mob as well, with Straight Line Mafia, and they would help them out too. And the Straight Line Mafia and the Italian Mafia. How do I put this? Yeah, basically, if you look into some autobiographies and shit like that of the notorious Italian mobsters and stuff from back then, you will hear a lot of mention of the good old boys down there in the South. That is another key word, basically talking about yes, prohibition. That was a key phrase. Basically, they're talking about the Dixie Mafia whenever they say that. If you ever seen the TV show, which I do actually advise watching it, it's pretty, it's dramatic, of course, but and it's fake as shit, but it's still fun. If you ever heard of the TV show Justified with Raylan Gibbons, uh, he's a U.S. deputy marshal whose father was in the show a member of the Dixie Mafia, and basically the TV show itself, they still run around and all this other stuff. Now, this is 100% for certain though, but the Dixie Mafia had connections to the KKK. Like I said, multiple of the Italian mobs, the Russian mobs, the Sicilians, all the motherfuckers, all had connections with each other. Because whenever it's kind of like things are nowadays, whenever you leave your territory and you come down here into our territory, basically we have to meet up with you and clear you and all this other stuff. Usually some money would be exchanged, and as long as you did what you're supposed to do, hey, it's all good. Uh, People like Pee Wee Gaskins, the serial killer, which was like a little torn, tiny little dork of a guy down with Pee Wee Gaskins. But yeah, he claims to have killed like almost 30 people or whatever. Um, yeah, I want to say it's one of those weird things that somebody just runs alongside of something for so long that people just assume that he was a member of it. But throughout all the court records and all that other mumbo jumbo, not once was the Dixie Mafia ever mentioned. That's not saying much because most of the people the Dixie Mafia had to kill, which, like I said, the numbers go from like 25 to probably like well over 100. My guess is well over the 100. So that's just my opinion. They're still finding bodies to this day. I think the last ones were found 2017 or 2019. I think it was 2019. They found a set of parents and their tiny little son buried in a tub from a bathroom. I forget what state it was in, but they had been there for many, many, many years. And it turned out that it was all connected to the Mafia. Most of the people they did kill, though, FYI, were usually people that fucked with the Dixie Mafia. Some, well, there was a couple of incidences where some people were murdered because of race relations, and there were other instances where uh, they needed to kill the people to pull off the crime and stuff. But basically, yeah, it's what I mean. You guys up in the north, you have the Italians and the New York, them guys, people like that. Down here, we got fucking creepy mountain folks that literally like to make moonshine and fucking run around and kill people. But yeah, the prerequisites basically was they had no leader at all. It was always said as a rule that, well, rule number one, of course, is of all things you do, you never snitch to the cops. I mean, everybody knows that. That's the big major rule, but apparently people don't fucking follow it, and that's why they have so many murders against them. Yes! Oh my god, that's what I was getting to. Okay. When I started reading the article, I was like, oh, what? Because it's weird. Because I shit you not, if you go back to 1983, I remember this because I was alive. The FBI busted entire counties worth of sheriff's departments. In fact, it was said that the Henderson County, I forget which state it was in, but the Henderson County Sheriff's Department was so corrupt that it literally needed to be completely fucking wiped out and redone all over again because the Dixie Mafia had so much ties. Like the sheriff was Dixie Mafia, the deputies were all Dixie Mafia. Like they were paying people, or people were paying them to help them transport drugs, human trafficking, all that other good shit, doing hits, doing everything that you would think that's probably going to be found out about the cops that were just now busted. The same thing was happening back then in the 80s. No joke. In the 70s and the 60s. Since these areas were so less developed and all that, they it was basically the Wild Wild West, as you might want to call it. Um, People didn't know any better, and there was somebody, I forget his first name, but I think I'm related to him actually. But his last name is Glitch. And now Glitch was the unspoken leader of the Dixie Mafia because they did have a second rule after the first rule: you better not snitch, and that was that the leader shall always be the one who maketh the most money. And by far, Glitch, I think he just passed away in 2019, 2020, something like that, or 2017, somewhere in there. Um, was literally the main man. He had bought in all these strip clubs, all these nightclubs, all these other different things, and basically turned them all into little hideaways and shit for the Dixie Mafia to hide. And now they were predominant. And I thought it was weird when I was doing like little 5 minutes worth of research to catch back up on the whole thing. But it was kind of crazy that you can see a map on the page, and they're talking about how predominant the Dixie Mafia was in the South and all that stuff for that 40, 50 years or whatever it was. And all these different states. Yeah, Mississippi, Biloxi, and all that was where you sent me the article to. And I believe, I think it was, I know Mississippi was one of the damn states that they're in. I know that much. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe in coincidences like that. Either somebody read up on the Dixie Mafia and got an idea, or I think we're starting to see history repeating itself all over again. But yeah, the thing you sent me was for Biloxi and all that. And I do know one of the states that they did a lot of shit in back then, about 40 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, was in fact Mississippi. I think it was like 11 states from Alabama, where my family's from. Well, actually, technically, part of my family came from Virginia, the other part came from Germany, and the other part of it came from Alabama. Pretty sure the Alabama people came from Virginia, but whatever. Georgia, Louisiana. Yeah, there were some notorious murders back in the 70s, I think. Yeah, involving all kinds of people like Gillett and Tipsy, Nixie Kicks. What's his name? I forget his name. But there's notorious, many notorious members of the Dixie Mafia that people have. Yes, ma'am. What? Did you think you were all just nice down here? Come on. But yeah, it's the heart of America. Something bullshit like that. But yeah, no, they were notorious. They were as violent as they get. They made the Italians look like fucking. Like I said, the Italians loved the fuck out of them because they were like, "Holy shit, these guys are nuts." As long as you had you had the money, it didn't matter. They set up hits. Um, there was a judge with the last name of Sherry and his wife, and these motherfuckers literally crafted and set up a hit on this judge, like a federal judge or a big ass judge. I'll tell you that much. And I do believe the judge was seriously wounded in that attempt, and his wife was in fact killed. And there were so many other times things like that. If you were a cop, you had two choices. It was more like it was you're either with us or you're against us, and if you were against them, well, they were just trying to kill you. It started with, like I said, illegal alcohol, stuff like that, making moonshine, prohibition, good old stuff like Al Capone was into, and all that stuff. It later moved on to gambling, racketeering, human trafficking, methamphetamines, the usual. It's kind of like you in Florida, especially where I'm from. You had your gangs like your Bloods or Crips or Folk and all that stuff. And then you would have your ghettos, and the ghettos would be like, the normal, typical, what you would think of ghettos. But then there's a place called Suncoast. Now, back then, I'm dumb enough. I'm the kind of idiot that would still walk around there. Oddly enough, I think I got into more physical altercations in the white ghetto than any other ghetto. No joke. Like even right now, I live in like a what I would call a Hispanic predominant kind of ghetto. I can just walk around here no matter any time of the day, any day of the week, any time of the year, and not be bothered most of the time. Yes, I did. See, and you can see what I mean by like these things basically carried over, right? Because when the biker gangs started appearing and all that in the 80s and the 90s and all this other crap, you started to see a whole bunch of judges being whacked, blown up, prosecutors being shot, killed, all kinds of other stuff. And it's also just a weird fact that places like Arkansas and all that you had things like the boys on the tracks and all that occurring, which we already had a crooked sheriff, had a crooked uh, district attorney, many crooked police officers. It's like, part of me wants to say it all happened because of the Dixie Mafia or whatever, but in reality, they could have, yeah, it could have been like breakaways and all this other stuff. Because there's no way you're going to take down everybody. And all in all, I think it started with like 11 former uh, people that met in prison. Just 11. By the end, there was probably hundreds of members, maybe even more. And that's where you get your gangs like I said, the Outlaws, the Renegades, probably some Hells Angels, all kinds of people mixed in there. Yeah, they all came from that kind of situation. And if you were on the side of good of any way, shape, or form, see, that's why when people talk about corruption in cases like Delphi and everything else, I'm just like, guys, I get that you want to find it and this and that, but there's so many messed up cases out there that actually does involve that. It's like, I'd love to introduce you to some of them. Holy crap. And it's like the boys on the tracks, you know, and many others. And I don't know, I think it's because they just happened a little bit longer ago, you know, in the 80s and whatnot. Shit, I was still alive. I still remember all that. It deserves to be talked about. Those victims do too. I mean, hell, there's so many people mixed in with the boys from the tracks murders. The fact that it's still unsolved to this day, holy shit, is astounding. It's just shocking. I can, if you notice, it's weird. They can't get nobody to talk about stuff like that. And anybody that does talk, even to this day, shuts up real fast. You never notice that? The lady that originally told them about the crooked prosecutor and all that stuff, when she finally got her happy ass out of jail, well, actually, I think it was before she got out of jail, actually, she completely reneged on her entire confession involving who she saw that name, all this other stuff. And then you got another person who claimed to be there, the former professional wrestler, Black Jack Haynes. Um, he somehow, oddly enough, murdered his wife. I mean, he probably did murder his wife, but it's kind of convenient, you know, and getting them to shut up, basically, right? Oh, they're going to need a lot of community in them. And I mean, I think I kind of screwed a lot of my old. You're gonna, I mean, believe it or not, there's a lot of still. Whenever you hear the term "good old boys," that's exactly where the term comes from, y'all. Like in Delphi, when that one judge, Mike Thomas or whatever, was running against fucking Leggett, and he kept mentioning the good old boys, the good old boys. That's where they get that phrase from. The good old boys is a term made from the South. Uh, and basically, we took over law enforcement agencies and stuff with our own people. And in fact, they weren't cops at all. They were all criminals. And honestly, it's fucking scary shit, man. Because they're still finding bodies and solving crimes to this day. It wasn't that long ago that a deputy sheriff was named the most likely suspect in the murder of a little girl and suspected in multiple others here in Florida. Um, how do I put it? Because once they went back and reinvestigated the case, since it was on his beat, this dude retired as a deputy sheriff of like 7 police agencies, and right away became a pastor at a church. Yeah, turns out he was a pedophile rapist and murderer. No joke. And they just discovered, it's like, why did nobody go back and start asking questions? And I think it's really weird how at least 11 or so, I think it's 11 to 14 different states that the Dixie Mafia was really predominant in. But there's like this massive gap right there at the bottom right hand corner. And it's like, because it's like Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Louisiana, you know, every single state you can think of down there. But then there's nothing for Florida. It's like, nope, nope. We didn't have to worry about Florida. Dixie Mafia ain't predominant in Florida. Bullshit. In my opinion, it's where you don't see these motherfuckers popping up at that it's the best place you should be looking for them at, because that's usually the places that they are hiding. And people like this also later on would be the same type of people that you would find as the suspects in like the Burger Chef murders and stuff like that. Which, if I remember correctly, the most predominant suspects in that case also were biker gang members. And everybody knows, well, what happened to the biker gangs once they started in Florida? Well, they hauled ass and took up to wherever the hell Indiana and all that was. Which is kind of weird how all this stuff is being, laid out today and all this stuff. But at the same time, I can't really complain because when I go up there in December, it's one of the reasons I don't have to worry about being safe. I don't know. I have a feeling that I'm going to start some shit in December. I really do. It's going to be fun. Yeah, well, I mean, let's see. They already got familiar DNA in my case, in my cousin's case, and that's going back to all kinds of motherfuckers, including my uncle, who's, yeah, I'm not going to get into that. And it's going to go farther back and farther back and farther back. So basically, they already have the DNA that's needed. All they got to do now is Gillich, believe it or not, when he died in 17 or 2019, whichever it was, he right before he passed away, he sent a crocheted picture to a friend of his through his son, and later on, the son found a hidden note, like hidden behind the crocheted picture, and it's believed to this day this was what they get arrested for: trafficking, drugs, people. What? Oh man, you got to understand, organized crime and truck drivers, it goes hand in hand. I'm not even talking about just the serial killers and all that. Other than them weird submarines and shit like that, how do you think most of the drugs and all that gets into the United States? Going right over the lines, right through the border crossings and everything else, right there in front of the fucking border guards and shit. No problem whatsoever. That's why I tell people, I'm like, look, it doesn't matter who we think did this or who we didn't think didn't do this, okay? What you need to be looking at is the entire situation. And oh, is that all? That doesn't surprise me any at all, too. Usually they're undocumented immigrants and stuff like that. When I used to work at a place called Coastal, where I got my CDL at, it was a recycling company. We used to have a semi truck, like air place next to us, and it was all a bunch of Haitian and Jamaican guys and all that other stuff, and they were all teaching them how to drive and stuff like that, but none of them had licenses. So it's like normal shit here. And fucking weirdos are still out at this time of the night. And that's why I use the phrase like Florida. It's a place where everybody comes from somewhere else. And it's always connected to some sort of organized crime. You get these weird junkies and shit coming from all different states and all that. Why do they somehow like immigrating here to like Florida and stuff like that? Well, it's pretty fucking obvious. They know that that's where the crime is, to make the money, and to make the money, uh, obviously some members of law enforcement has to be involved in it. And anybody that wants to think I'm crazy or conspiracy theory minded and all the other stuff, just check the news because they're being busted every fucking day. It seems now. Hmm. And yeah, and this is where they get ideas from, like for the hijackers and shit from like 9/11 and all that. This is where they get this magical ideas on how to get down into that country and do this and that and the other. They're usually just using the same fucking routes and methods were used beforehand by the actual criminals. This is, yeah, like people always like, oh, we're gonna watch the border at Mexico. Man, all them motherfuckers came in Canada. because ain't nobody watching Canada because we're too busy watching Mexico. What the fuck? And then you got Indiana sitting there with a large amount of, I don't care who you are, what you say. I've been through that list of weird, strange ass fires. For one, that is some of the weirdest fucking sounding deaths I've ever heard of in my damn life. And then it seemed like to almost nearly die out around Florida and Delphi. And I always thought that was weird, really fucking weird. That's where I come up with that crazy ass theory that hey, what if Delphi actually was a way to distract everybody from what happened in Florida and the other fires? Which I don't know. Who knows? I still haven't found a legitimate motive, no matter what anybody says about sexual means or whatever, or who did it or who didn't do it. I'm not finding that massive triggering event or anything like that. In fact, I find more or less along the lines of something about Richard Allen possibly having money issues, many different reasons, but it all ended the same way with somehow with the Allens having money issues. Maybe she didn't do well in the stocks, or didn't do this, or didn't do that. I don't know, but I keep there's always some truth to every line of bullshit, is what I always say, and the thing I hear most is there's always somebody saying that's they were having some sort of money issue. Whether it be because his daughter is about to get married and he was supposed to pay for the wedding, or they failed at stocks, or there was always a different reason. It seemed like once everybody told the story, but yeah, even the Kokomo Hit Squad, all them other people, they operated a whole lot like fucking the Dixie Mafia. It's like the group was disbanded. Not really. They just broke away and went their own separate ways. And just started doing the same shit elsewhere. And like I said, you can connect it very easily by the members of the Dixie Mafia and their kids and their kin and everybody else that didn't get busted. They went to places like Florida and shit like that. And what happened in Florida? Then all of a sudden we have places, gangs like oh, it was paid for. That is correct. Because she had no issue selling it or whatever. But I don't think that's what I'm. Yeah, I wasn't meaning that like by money issues. Like, how do I put it? Uh, the way I see it is okay. I am open to anybody who wants to discuss it or whatever like that, as I always say. Um, and while I'm still here on this thought or process of, yeah, I still feel like he would probably had something to do with it or did it. Very simple. Because there's very simple logic that people can't eliminate. And I wish somebody would, because then I'd be like, oh shit, I'd be just like everybody else. But at the same time, it's like, no, these very simple, you know, take away all the evidence that's not supposed to be used because of judge's directions and fruit of the poisonous tree and all this other stuff, and you still get left with very, very bad. How do I put it? There's some nice things that if he didn't do it, then Richard Allen has to have some sort of explanation for it, and I would love to hear it. And I have not yet, I haven't heard of of anything like it. Not even a single word during the trial. That's why I keep telling people, if you're thinking that one side's corrupted, and somehow you're thinking both sides aren't corrupted, well, then you're just dumb. You're silly. You're naive. You're ignorant. Because only, I mean, I'm not saying who did what or who did this or who killed who. I'm not saying anything like that. But I'm saying is, if there was some sort of frame cover up, conspiracy, or just criminal bullshit at all within the government up there, uh, it was both sides. Well, I mean, my personal opinion, like I said, I've seen the crime scene photos and everything else. If you haven't, I, I keep it that way because I really never wanted to look at him. I think I only finally waited until like a week before the trial to finally look at him because it was just like I had to, break down the whole scene. And how do I put this? Um, I'm not entirely sure the scene was staged at all. I'm sure a scene was staged, but how do I put this? We don't know where people like the bikers and meth heads and all that shit were meeting. If somehow those two things didn't conflict with each other, if you get what I'm saying. BTK, yes, he posed his victims. Not as bad as the Gainesville Ripper, aka Danny Rowling. Danny Rowling was the worst fucked up one to do that. Like, I hate explaining it because it's pretty fucked up. But Danny Rowling took one of his victims. He cut off her head, and he put her head. Okay, have you ever seen the TV show The Mentalist with Patrick Jane and the guy that's a mentalist and uses his skills and all that to make people think he's a fake psychic and that's how he solves crimes? Which actually is a badass show, by the way. But the main protagonist, main antagonist or whatever of the show, was a guy that goes by the name of Red John. We didn't know for like many seasons who the hell Red John was until the end. And what Red John would do is when you entered a room, you would see on a wall, in a mirror, or something like that, you would see a smiley face written in the victim's blood. I guess it's kind of a shout out to Keith Hunter Jesperson and stuff like that, who was the happy face killer and stuff. But the first thing you would, and they quoted in the show, they're like, the first you see the face, as in the smiley face, and that's how you know to feel the dread, because as soon as you go to where that face was pointing, you would be able to see the actual victim himself. And the reason why Patrick James was involved in the show is because his daughter and his wife was murdered by Red John because he was talking shit about it. Yes, BTK. When he killed the Tellos or whatever, he posed the 12-year-old daughter who he molested in the basement before tying her up. And I believe she was even levitating because of the ropes and all that was tied around her. And yes, he enjoyed the shock of it and loved to think about how people would react, but so did Danny Rowling. As I was saying about him and his staging, he would take the victim's head, put the head on the dresser, and face the head to where it's looking at the bed, where the rest of the body is, and then pose the rest of the body into a very sick, twisted sexual, like, I hate saying it, but like a masturbation kind of thing pose. So you would go into the room, you would see her head, and then you would look from her head across the room, and boom, you would see the body. And it was like she was watching herself do that to her. You get what I'm saying? And he was the worst sick bastard of them all to do that. And he liked to sing in court. That was his thing. And oh yeah, BTK. BTK is a hell of a lot like people always think that Raider was so damn smart and all this. No, no, he was not. Just like in Indiana and everything else, there was a large amount of law enforcement incompetence early on in the BTK murders, and that's the only reason he stayed out of prison for as long as he did. That and he had no criminal record. That's why when Amy and stuff brings people, I'm like the only difference between people you talk about. She calls Richard Allen rare if he did in fact do it. I'm like, he's not that rare. And he's kind of challenges me, which we all know we don't challenge Charles when it comes to murder. Mm-hmm. He dressed himself up. He wore a see-through mask. Tied himself up too. At the scene, he would actually tie himself up like he did his victims, and he would watch them suffer. There's been not a ton, but many actual serial killers, like that were very similar to BTK. There was a guy in Germany, I think it was. I forget his name, but he killed little Boy Scouts and shit like that, doing stuff like that. There was here in Florida, the crooked cannibal cop, um, Gerard John Schaefer. He had a house not too far from here. I'd say about 20 minutes of drive, and outside of his house because he lived. Yeah. There's a lot of them though. Exactly, there's a fucking lot of them. Uh, Schaefer had a thing called the Hangman's Tree, in which it was only dubbed that after Schaefer did what he did. Basically, he had a kink for he would tie women up, put a noose around their neck, tie their arms behind their back, tie their feet together, and put them on a wobbly log, balancing back and forth while the noose itself was tied to the tree. And what either would happen, he would sit there and watch and leave, come back, and see how long it took. Because he didn't kill anybody. Yeah, sure, Schaefer didn't kill anybody. They killed themselves, don't you know? See, what would happen was he would watch them and they would get tired. And because of that, the stump or whatever would fall over and then they would hang themselves. That's why, up until he was murdered in prison, he told everybody, I didn't kill nobody. Technically he was telling the truth because they actually, they killed themselves. And the sick thing is, there's a lot of them out there like that. But yeah, the thing I put out, I'm like, okay, Alan was in his 40s. That's a little bit higher than the age range, but for one, you're trying to stereotype him as a serial offender, and we don't know, and he's probably not a serial offender. But who was he? Yeah, he's dead now too. FYI, the Dahmer victim. Actually, have you ever looked into the fact that have you ever heard of the Adam Walsh case? America's Most Wanted, John Walsh, etc. His son. That's how he got involved in the whole America's Most Wanted and stuff. His son was found kidnapped from a Hollywood mall, Florida mall, beheaded, and all they ever found was his head. Adam Walsh. Well, guess even though they blamed a serial killer who was in the area, which is weird, but it is what it is. It's Florida. What do you expect? Um, but they blamed Otis Toole, and they closed the case in 2011. But that wasn't, Otis was not the one they were more interested in getting information from for many, many years. They were after Dahmer. Because, in my opinion, it's highly likely, in fact, due to the actual evidence, there is not one piece of evidence that indicates that Otis Toole committed that murder of Adam Walsh. But there is evidence that Jeffrey Dahmer committed that murder. Dahmer worked about 2 to 3 miles from the Hollywood Mall. The boy went missing. He was off, or not off that day, but he called in sick that day. Odd event number two. There was like almost a dozen witnesses to the kidnapping of Adam Walsh outside of the Hollywood Mall, and the man they all described looked nothing like fucking honest, not a damn bit. Who killed him? To be honest, I'm not sure, but I damn sure don't think it was Otis Toole because Otis Toole never attacked a child in his life. So while I do think he's disturbing enough, I do think he's a killer. I do know that he confessed to it, but he didn't really have too much information more that him and Henry Lee Lucas were in fact known as the confession killers. The cops gave him enough information for them to concoct the thing in their head to make it seem plausible that they committed all these murders. I think it was like 1,400 murders between the two of them that they confessed to, but in reality, I think Otis had like 7 to 12, and Henry probably had around the same. In my opinion, okay, look up the sketches of nearly a dozen witnesses outside the mall that day when Adam was taken, of the guy they seen taking Adam. Now, you take Otis Toole and his picture. In fact, many people have done this. It should be on Google if you look hard enough. You'll see a picture of Otto Stoll, and then you'll see a picture of Jeffrey Dahmer, and then you'll see the sketch in the middle, down to the creepy porn star mustache and everything that he had at that exact moment. It's like it's a tall ass, slim guy. He probably was like 6'4" and da 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 da, blondish, sandy blonde hair, da da da. I'm like, I mean, the porn star mustache. I'm like, it's fucking Dahmer. In fact, oddly enough, later on when Dahmer was arrested as the Milwaukee Cannibal, and multiple witnesses saw him on the news. Yeah, kind of. When multiple witnesses saw Dahmer on the news being arrested, they literally stopped and was like, "That's the one. That's the guy that fucking kidnapped Adam Walsh." No joke. So you have the actual testimony, unlike Delphi, which are like, this guy was wearing this guy was wearing that, blah, 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 blah. And they can't get shit right. Every one of these witnesses said the same damn near shit. Every description, every sketch that they all produced looked like Dahmer. I shit you not. Just like fucking Dahmer. And they saw Adam Walsh being lifted, screaming, yelling, or whatever, and being tossed into a big ass blue Ford Econoline van. Well, remember how I told you that Jeffrey called off sick that day? He worked at a deli place making sandwiches, which you know what I'm saying if you watch the show. So yeah, you get what I'm saying. That's where he made the sandwiches at. And the delivery vehicle for the deli that he worked at was a massive blue Ford Econoline van. So he worked 2 miles away. He lived about less than 5 miles away from the mall. He matches the description perfectly. He has no alibi for that day. Let's just say, in fact, the police went after Jeffrey was arrested and interviewed him in prison. I think it was over 7 times because they were so convinced that Dahmer had something to do with this. And the only thing Dahmer would tell them is, "Hey, I told you about the ones I ate, the ones I fucked, the ones I did this, the ones I did that. You know, if I had done this, I'd have told you." Not quite, Jeffrey. You're in gin pop, my boy. It's different when you're running around, people knowing that you killed like 14 or 15-year-old boy. They can, some of them can pass that off as being an adult, in their minds. But you can't do that with a 6-year-old. Nope, nope, nope. A 6-year-old, you can't say, "Well, I didn't know how old he was," and blah, blah, blah. Right? That's a fucking kid, no matter how you wing it. We all know how pedos and shit, and chomos and shit get treated in prison. Just my opinion. They had no physical evidence, really no evidence at all, other than a supposed blood stain that we don't have because they lost Otis Toole's fucking car. Yeah, they said we saw a blood stain in his car after we arrested him that one time, and we swear we saw an imprint of a child's face that looked like Adam's in the blood. Oh, you so full of shit, it ain't even funny, bro. I ain't never seen. I mean, unless you were talking about Jesus and the shroud of turban or whatever the hell it was called or whatever. I ain't never heard about nobody's fucking face being imprinted in blood on something. You know what I mean? It just seemed like bullshit to me, the whole story itself. And I never liked the way, something odd about John Walsh to me. And now, if you know anything about what's happened in the last 10 to 15 years, I don't know. There's still something odd about that shit. See, the Walshes didn't have one child, they had two. They had a daughter and they had Adam. Now, here's where the story gets a little crazy, right? Apparently, Adam's sister, the daughter, claims that Adam didn't die, was never kidnapped, that his parents did something like sold him into trafficking or something. And she also claims that her dad and her mom do all kinds of illegal shit and stuff like that. I will have to add in, she kind of crazy, has mental issues, and a severe drug problem. But at the same time, John Walsh has literally taken all of her kids. Like, there's a video on YouTube, if you look it up, of the sheriff breaking down her door and forcing her newborn baby to be taken away with him. So I don't know what to believe about it, but the whole thing just don't sit right with me. And the way he just happily went along with the cops back in 2011. mm, If it was me, it was my kid, I'd be like, "No, bitch, you ain't done. I'm gonna see some fucking evidence. You show me why this motherfucker killed my kid. I want to make sure." Well, yes, well, no, no, there are a lot of people, yes, that do suspect John Walsh had something to do. For one, some people say that it was never Adam to begin with that was murdered. I don't know, but you got to remember this was like what, 1983. Yeah, I think it was like around 83, and they didn't have the DNA testing and all that shit back then. So it was kind of a lot of people claim it was way too quick that that they were able to say that for sure that was Adam Walsh, because by that point I think Adam was missing for at least a week, I think it was, or more than a week. But if you know anything about the Florida heat and the fact that the head was found in like a culvert off of I-75 in the water, if they're trying to tell me that they were easily to identify Adam Walsh based on his head alone, I'm calling bullshit on that one. Because within 3 days, 4 days, that head would have been damn near stripped of all the, you know what I'm saying? That's like I said, once you dig into it, I'm not saying the daughter's right. I'm not saying anything like that, or that the parents did anything to the kid. It's like John Benet Ramsey. A lot of people want to believe that the parents or the son, with the help of the parents, blah blah blah, are basically the reason why John Benet was murdered. And I'm sorry, that's fine and dandy. If you want to use that as a way to investigate and everything else, I'm cool with that. But at some point, you find that it just don't make no fucking sense. Because it's like, oh, he caught her eating his pineapple and got upset, so he bashed her in the head with a flashlight. Okay, I can go along with that. Cool, cool, cool. So who was the fucking nasty, raunchy psycho that basically enjoys jerking off while fucking strangling the girl on and off and on and off and on and on? Because where does that fit in? What are you talking about? I'm like, oh, well, there's DNA that's found on her panties, on her fingernails, and all this other stuff. And I do not believe, if I remember correctly, any of that DNA mentioned the family members, for one. For two, I've seen the crime scene photos. They were leaked. And you can see where the garrote was loosened and tightened, and loosened and tightened. And sure, maybe he just had a slippery wrist or something. I don't know. But no, to me, that shows like it was the sadist. And the sadist would get off on choking her nearly to death till she's unconscious, then letting it loose so she can breathe again and doing it again and then again. Because you can see the overlapping cord marks where it was loosened and retightened over at least a few times. And then the cops were like, "There's no other way. We would have seen footprints in the snow." Motherfucker, you lying your ass up. Scroll back 5 feet on that picture you showing everybody claiming this, that, and the other. What do you see? Oh, there's an easy way for you to make it to that window without touching the snow or whatever at all, or the mud and shit. And it just became, I don't know. Sadly, there was a lot of good members of Colorado law enforcement. That one dude, oh, I love that one dude. He's fucking awesome. I can't remember his name off the top of the hand, but I think he solved like over 600 homicides, or 400 at least. He caught a few serial killers and everything. And he was missing for like, I want to say a week to a couple weeks before they found the head. And they never found the rest of his body. just ahead. Oh, FYI, there was also witnesses who saw a big blue Econoline van off of I-75 parked next to the culvert, where they indeed later found Adam's head. So, oh, yes, the broken window. Oh, there's a spider web there. It's been undisturbed for blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, but I'm not law enforcement. I'm not some fucking badass investigator or anything like that, but I can look at all the things there and sit there and easily come up with a plausible explanation about where, who, what, why, and this and that that has nothing to do with that fucking family. Kind of. I mean, it does have a little bit because obviously it was at their house, but at the same time, it seemed much easier. And I'm saying allegedly, what people seem to fail to notice a lot of times is, okay, what do we know about the crime when it comes to John Bonet? Uh, the ransom note, right? Too much details, way too much details. This is not something somebody from the outside would know unless what? They had insider information, things that they should not know. That's a known fact, and we've all known that for a long time now, correct? Correct. Somehow they knew the exact amount of John Ramsey's fucking bonus. I think it was like 111,000 or some shit like that. Some weird amount. And the thing about that is, there was somebody who also lived in the house with the Ramseys. Wait, where did Dahmer live? Uh, Back then, see, he had just gotten kicked out of the army, and he didn't want to face his dad. So he lived about 4 miles. He instead went down south here in Florida, and he was living in Hollywood, Florida. I'm not going to say he knew the Walshes or anything like that. I don't know. Like I said, the story just never sat right with me. You know, maybe some people back then were just okay with it, but even my parents kind of were. You know, I remember at times I just kind of got lost. So I'm not saying it's impossible, and I'm not blaming anybody, but you know, it's weird. That's all I'm saying. Would you walk away from your child, your 6-year-old child, and just leave them with a bunch of other kids in a store where you're not all the way across the thing? You know, then the difference between how kids were raised back then and how I mean, I was still technically part of right around that gap between Generation X and the millennial. So I do know what it's like to, boy, you ain't allowed to come in the house. You better be home though when the damn street lights turn on. You know, I know all about that shit. And even then, if I was 6 and I was going missing like that, yeah, my mom wouldn't even mind that shit. So and this was around that same time too, because Adam would just be a couple years older than me. So it's, but yeah, Dahmer lived within 5 miles of that exact mall and worked about 2 miles from that exact mall. And like I said, witnesses at the mall saw a figure, which if you look up the sketches and the descriptions and all that other stuff, uh, yeah, if it wasn't Dahmer, it's like crazy similar to everything, height, weight, all that shit, hair, oh, mustache, even age range, everything, and the fact that that band was used. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even this was the early '80s. I'll give them that. Um, so yeah, give your kid a little bit of a little space or whatever, but not like that. Not like that. Like I could see myself being like 3 or 4 hours down to where if I even hear something, why haven't they looked into that? Which part of it? As I said, they investigated Dahmer or Adam's murder. They even interviewed him 7 times, and they basically took his explanation of "I told you about everything else. I told you about this one." Oh, I'm not sure that's true. Jeopardy. I'm not sure that's true at all. It's kind of weird to me how they didn't even bring that up in that whole fucking Netflix show either. It's like it's like Jimmy Savile in the United Kingdom and his links to the Yorkshire Ripper murders, and later on the Yorkshire Ripper. They almost seem like best friends that knew each other their entire life. They met after uh, Peter Sutcliffe was locked away in Broadmoor or whatever it was. Yes, exactly. It makes perfect sense. It totally does. Because a lot of serial killers and pedophiles love to use that big old white, big old, you know, in this case, blue vein, because it's a portable kill room. You just had to hose the shit out. I think the key to finally figuring out who killed Adam Walsh is not always will be the missed. Other remains. Where the fuck did they go? And that's the part that it's also the part that buzzed me about Jeffrey though. Where it might have been just too late and they're just not bothering to come out or whatever. Um it might be just because I've been a very good boy lately or I don't know. Or that I'm just not talking about them at the moment in time. Actually, I saw them everywhere else I was at tonight though. There was and Adrian's chat. There was at least one or two there. Mainly, it's always Mustang, and that's why it pisses me off that everybody's just so fucking hunky dory with it. It's like, dude, you're basically like, I'm being stalked, and you're just like okay with the person that's doing it. It's like, what the hell? But if I say a mean thing back, I'm a dickhead. It's like, what the hell? It's okay. I got better things to do at the moment of time. If I wanted to do something about that, I've got all the stuff I need to show, and I'd rather not. I have been quiet. I've been very busy in my real life, and I've been trying to keep my ass out of drama. Oddly enough, but every single time I'm on here, they're always trying to poke at me, or like I couldn't see what was being said, but I could see Shivy's response to her and this and that and the other. And I guess it's because I've just been nice, because there's a lot of claims made and everything else, and I'm just like I got the proof that just you know tells the truth about all of it. But at the same time, it's more like, dude, it was a year or so, I think, many months ago, when the shit tapped off when I got into the massive fight with the whole groups and all that other shit, because it started with her, no joke. And all everybody did is tell me that I'm drama because they're doing nothing with her. So I'm just like, how does that make any fucking sense? And that's why I broke my ties off or whatever with people like I'm not like ties, like I still talk to them and stuff like that, but I stopped doing shows with you know who and all this other stuff. Did I miss all the Lauren stuff? I've heard if you're talking about Crazy Lauren, um I had heard of her a long time ago because she stalked Tommy, which is insane to me because now somehow she's running around the troll farm. It's like, wow, y'all waited till Tommy fucking quit or left or whatever, and the second he did, y'all bring in the fucking the stalker or whatever. That's why at this point I'm just like, everybody's crazy. I'm just gonna fucking sit back. Ain't no reason to get mad about this shit no more. I'm just tired of getting in the fight with people like Diana and shit like that. It's like, girl, before our argument, you say like 2 days, a day or so before our argument, you said you're going to get rid of her, ban her completely. I didn't ask her. And then, yeah, she came up with that on her own because not only was I being stalked, she had, I think it was a total of over 100 some, or close to 100 different emails, like, and she was not responding to them and hadn't responded in months. Oh, the truth. Oh, I have. Yeah, I've been meaning to. Honestly, I heard that there's something about stalking and stuff involved, and I'm have. To be honest, I've been because I've only heard about it in the last, I want to say 4 or 5 days or so, and I've wanted to start getting into it. It's just, there's so much of it. Oh, let me see what the heck's going on. I have no idea what exactly is going on with that. I did hear stuff about a stalker. Um, I'm starting to wonder if it didn't have something sort of along the lines to do with like the shit I've been having to go through myself, and just like in my situation, it's like all these people were against her, but I don't know the situation. I mean, so really, yeah, I do remember the episode or whatever, and then I saw you repost the video, but she had an X through her face, and I was like, "What's up with that?" Yeah, I know. I mean, I've seen it. It's just I wasn't sure if I even wanted to delve into it at this point. I'm still trying to distance myself from Delphi. It's not even funny because it's like I see so many people doing so much shady shit, and the worst thing is, it's like all the fucking creators. It seems like not all of them, but like the majority of them, and it bothers me. And I don't care that if they hear me saying this, I don't fucking care. Um, I don't. Yeah, there's no safe anything anymore. If you're on either side, you're basically on the wrong side. Sides are not the way to be at this moment in time. You're all being, and I hate to say this because it probably makes me sound like a bit of a conspiracy theorist. I believe you're all being fucking controlled by these sites, these creators. I really do. And some of them are doing it just for their own nefarious means or greed or stuff like that, which I get. You know, I'm evil. I get it. It is what it is. Um, and then others, I'm not sure why they're doing it, to be honest with you. I know I got to go there in December, and honestly, I don't think I can just walk that close to a hornet's nest without wanting to kick the shit out of it and see what the hell happens. It's the best way to put it. No, I don't know who to trust, man. Yeah, there's a good reason for that. Um, damn near everybody from its own different angle or whatever like that. I can say that there is just one way reason or another for both angles, like from both sides. Uh, yeah, I always feel like they've been sent by someone else, and I wonder about that. And it's like they start to change. And if you notice one thing though, a lot of people they have a lot of bad shit to say about me, and I get it. I've done plenty of fucked up things. Not that fucked up, but still fucked up things and all this other stuff. But at the same time, I've always been consistently my damn self. You know, I got my times when I'm calm. I got my times when I go off. You know what I mean? Oh, I know I'm gonna get sucked in. I know it. I still have to go because that's my path. I have to take it. And yeah, I feel like if there is some massive, crazy fucking thing going on or whatever, it's gonna either be me dead or me in a massive fight. Which I tell you what, I damn sure ain't gonna die of like nothing. So, and I'm not stupid either. You know, I have my own little group waiting for me up there. So, and it's not just Delphi. I got multiple places I got to stop up there. Yeah, there's just something weird about this whole fucking thing, and even the people. And I'm not just the people in Indiana or this, that, and the other, or the surrounding area. No, it's like fucking. Yeah, I gotta go do the witness thing like 13th or the 15th, I forget which, of this month, November. Well, yeah, technically it's this month. And then I gotta, I don't have to leave out of here until the new year and stuff. So I got plenty of time to do what I need to do to get the hell out of here and finish finalize bullshit here. And I feel weird now because I'm like almost like a nomad. You know, I'm not in any weird situation where I have to worry about like the financial or anything like that. If I'm a sense concerned, but now I feel like I already felt like I kind of like didn't have a place I belong. Now I really fucking feel like I don't have a place where I belong. Even the friends that do I have to fight somebody? What in court or what? Oh, I got robbed by a crackhead. It's no big deal about the court thing or whatever. Um, I don't have to fight anyone. You know, I did tell the entire patrol department and all the other stuff that I was going to be there in December, and if they got issue, come get some. Yeah, I mean, I get that I'm crazy. I get that I'm fucking unhinged and all kinds of other stuff. But you know what, motherfuckers? I'm consistent. I ain't going to flip flop my shit or whatever. I don't have to fight anybody. And trust me, any of them were to meet me in person, I don't think they'd want to fight either. Because, you know, it was one thing when I weighed like 300 pounds more. I mean, most people called me intimidating and shit back then when I was like 500 and some pounds. But now it's just like I went from an offensive lineman or defensive lineman into a linebacker because I'm still 6'4", and now it's like 220 and this, that, and the other. And so far at the moment, the treatments and all that shit for my health is working itself out and stuff. So um, I'm hoping that it just keeps on going well. But either way it goes, no, I don't have to leave my home. I hate Florida. I always hated Florida. I mean, I love Florida. Don't get me wrong, but I hate it. I'm always. It's. I guess it's like they say about Sagittarius is like a lot. They say that we tend to want to move around a lot and this and that and the other because we just never feel right where we are. And I don't know. I guess I kept always hoping for some decent friends I could find elsewhere, and you know because of that, I know where I'm going. And oddly enough, it kind of came down to like Oregon or Indiana or the area around Indiana, basically, um, as places that I thought for the longest time. I was like, yeah, I guess this is where the divine path is sending me and stuff. And then once again, just recently, everything got all twisted and contorted and everything else again. What's up, Nicole? How you doing, girl? So it's like, how do I put it? It's kind of like weird because, yeah, you know, I really don't like Florida, so I'm happy to get out of the fucking Florida. Even though Dina's like, I'm gonna come down and move to Florida, and I'm like, no, nigga, you don't want to come to Florida. Fuck Florida. This place sucks. And he's like, really? It's that bad? I'm like, well, honestly, I don't know how bad the rest of the United States is because it probably sucks too. But yeah, you know, it might be worse than Florida for all I know. And no, I don't have to do anything or do this and that. I mean, I still have land in like Waukegan, Florida, and all this other stuff. So if I really wanted to, I could just go up there and do it all over again. But it's like I'm kind of looking at a situation where I'm like, what the hell do I want to do for once? And I have no idea, no idea what to do. And that sounds kind of fun, actually, in its own way. Because for once, I don't have anything holding me back, and I can do whatever the hell I want. And in typical fashion, that would be me. First thing I got to do is, like I said, got to go kick the shit out of a hornet's nest and see what pops up. And I don't know. It's just like I've met a lot of motherfuckers in the past 10 years because of this case. A lot of damn people. And if you had asked me when I met those people, how many of them would actually be still standing um, and still worth a damn or worth trusting or whatever, since um, at different times I would probably would have given you these massive numbers of people and all this other stuff. And it sucks, but I think 99.9% of them, yeah, turned to utter shit. And I find myself questioning everything, just about all things because of that. You know, because I always used to believe that I was so good at like judging people, or based on what I knew about them, or all this other stuff. And well, it turns out even I can be fooled quite often, apparently. I think I'm going to be kind of like one of those weirdo fucking, roamers, wanderers, nomads, whatever. But yeah, I probably met like tens of thousands of people because of Delphi alone and stuff, and the other crimes that I was involved in on YouTube and stuff. And I'm not even joking when I say that. It, hypothetically speaking, I met like 50,000 people. Well, even though many times it would have been like I'd have taken a bullet for all 50,000 of them motherfuckers had seen. Um, it's kind of weird because it was never this bad in real life. Because that's how it always goes. I would defend people. I got known basically as the king of the rejects or whatever, because I couldn't let somebody be bullied, or I couldn't do this, or I couldn't do that. So I ended up getting myself in a lot of stupid ass situations. No big deal. That's just how I am. And it carried on into YouTube and all this other stuff. And it still doesn't bother me. I don't regret any of it, but it's like, like I said, if I hypothetically met 50,000 people, 49,990 of them uh, ended up not being worth a shit. And even for Florida standards, that's an astronomically insane fucking number. Honestly, I'm not even sure if there is an actual 10 people. It's a very, very small number. Very small number. And I'm so afraid to add somebody to the list at some point, because just because of that reason. So it's like, the hell, I mean, I'm just going to say I spent too much money protecting the actual lives of fucking some people early on in this damn case that I don't even talk to them now. It's crazy. I mean, I could, but I put myself in a whole weird situation trying to figure things out. That's all. What? Delete? Hi, I screwed up. Oh, yeah. I was like, what are you trying to say, yo? No, I mean, I don't even think it's Delph. I mean, the only place I've ever met in my life that seemed kind of weird is where I am right now. Like, um, it's like the Delphi area, or what I call Delphi is the new cursed area, because I live in a cursed area, as far as I see. And really, if you just look at the crazy amount of notorious murders and all this other shit and events that happen in the area I'm at now, it's and compare it to Indiana, it's like, oh, Indiana's trying to catch up. And I don't think it's because of the murders or anything like that. I just had a lot of weird shit happen. Uh, Ever since Delphi. Like from the moment I became involved with Delphi, just fucking shit got weird fast. Like there was the one time where, because honestly, I mean, you would think that just hearing somebody get murdered on the news at this point in my life, with everything I've been through, it would have gone in one ear and out the other. But just hearing the words down the hill, I felt like pure dread when I heard that. And I stopped everything I was doing just to see what the fuck was on the TV. Just the way I heard those words in my mind just filled me with dread. It kind of told me that whatever happened to those girls was pretty fucked up, like really bad. And I've seen it myself. Yeah, it was pretty fucking bad. And later on, one of the people that taught me, or literally like taught me how to make videos and shit, which I pretend to don't know how. Which I just, I'm still gonna keep pretending I don't know how. But he ended up killing himself and shooting his wife before that, and yeah, it's like a lot of weird shit going on with this whole thing. And then there was like me trying to do lives and stuff like that, and specifically if I did them on Delphi. Uh, and it was oddly enough, it was always when I said something about Abby, never Libby. But whenever I bring up her name, like the electronics and shit, only the electricity in the house that I now use as a shed fucking went nuts. And during one night, with basically most of the troll form in attendance, the lights went nuts. Like, and no joke, they've never returned to this day. You know, I am an electrician. I could go in there and fix it and all that, probably. But I don't know. Just didn't want to. It seemed weird. So I wanted to just leave it like it was. And I don't know why it happened then, or during that live or anything like that. It was just weird. And let's not even talk about, like, okay, right before all that war shit started, and I had to supposedly fight the two groups and everything else. You know who I'm talking about, obviously. Um, how do I put it? I broke all ties to anybody and everybody. No joke. That I was connected to damn near everybody, except for I think Dan and Paradox and a couple other people. That was all Delphi related. I broke ties and everything else right before I met all you guys, actually, with everybody. I did whatever I had to do to break those ties, no matter how mean or whatever it came off as being, because I felt like I needed to break this bad link connection between me and this crime. And that I did not want to go to Indiana. I really didn't want to go to Indiana. And then it became I didn't want to go to Indiana and I didn't want to go to Oregon. Because even back then, this was before I met Leo. No joke. It was like I was fated to go to Oregon and Indiana. And listen to this because it's going to get crazy real fast, y'all. Holy shit. So I break all ties. I turned and got rid of all my friends and all my connections to those two states. Damn near, but like three. And those three, to this day, never bothered to try to bring me back. So I don't have to worry about those guys. You know, Dan, Paradox, everything else, they're cool. Um, I break all ties, and I'm literally I deleted my entire YouTube channel. See, the channel y'all know me on, um, it was actually just a spare that I had. The other channel had like almost 1,000 subs and shit, like somewhere in there, like 700 some shit. And I was a hell of a lot more popular on that channel. And because of the stalking and by Mustang and all this other stuff, I literally deleted my channel. No joke. Um, so yeah, like I said, I broke all the fucking ties, pissed off anybody and everybody that I had to piss off to break those ties. Um, Telling some dark ass secrets and shit that people didn't know want me to do. And really, oddly enough, they're not mad at me now. They don't really talk to me anymore. They ain't really mad at me either. So. And how do I put it? Yeah, I completely broke all ties. I was on a spare channel at that point. I barely just made it stream livable, basically. And that very same night, was planning on, I was doing my last podcast and doing on this. And basically, that was it. I split it up. And time is it now? Oh, it's 6 now or 5 a.m. Around this time, but I think it was about 5 something in the morning. Nobody was in my live. Nobody was in my chat. I had gotten used to so many times of like having 40, 50 people or so in there and blah, blah, blah and stuff. And sometimes it's just 30 or whatever. And it's like nobody was in there. So, in its own way, it was a good thing, but it's other reasons it was like weird. You know? And I was basically signing off. And then one motherfucker showed up. I had met this person before. I didn't know why the fuck he was there. But I don't know. Just in that interaction alone, something told me that okay, maybe I need to stick around just a little bit longer. I should have went with my first. I should have just left, and I thought I don't know if I'd be better or whatever, but I should have just kept. But I intended to in the first place, and oddly enough, it was the name Dirty Diana, who I had seen previous times on other chats and stuff. That was in the chat, and we just sat there bullshitting for like I don't know 2 3 hours that morning. Kind of like what I'm kind of doing with y'all right now. Just having a normal conversation, doing this up here, and, I'm just chilling in the chat, typing blah blah blah. And I don't know why. I just like I said, I didn't feel like leaving anymore. Uh, I was like, maybe I don't suck as much as I should, but I should have noticed right away the red flags. Oh man, I should have noticed right away because it occurred to me because it was like the mythical beings that control all the bullshit that I have to do in my life somehow want me to go to Indiana. It wasn't until maybe like 3 months, 2 months ago or so, like that, I noticed when I was texting the name, not the name, but the state of Indiana, I texted the Indiana out and I looked at the name Indiana and I'm like, motherfucker. And yeah, she was the person I was talking to at the time too. And the text, I was like, oh, hell no. Like, you know how I make that joke and talk all that shit about saying that God or whatever has fated me to fucking blah 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 to end up in Indiana and all this other shit? You're like, yeah. I'm like, do me a favor. I'm like, what? Write or type down the state name of Indiana. Just do that for me. They're like, okay. I'm like, separate the I and the N from the rest. And I should, like I said, I should have seen the red flags right away because if you take Indiana and you separate those two things, what do you get? In Diana. I'm like, oh shit. Like, I've just been playing this fucking game all along and I'm just fucked. Just utterly fucked. And I look up and every connection that I had destroyed, a new one magically appears. And it wasn't just Indiana either. Because where's Diana? Anybody? Anybody? Remember where I said I was trying to get away from? I didn't want to go to Indiana and I didn't want to go to, back then, I was supposed to go to Oregon because I was supposed to go meet big fish in a small pond and stuff like that. But I broke all those connections off, remember? Like I said. But somehow, some way, magically, like I have no choice in the matter. Diana, boom. Jenny, boom. Now fish back in the picture again. Boom, 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 boom. The connections not only are reestablished, they're even more now than they were in the first place. So at this point, I'm just like, well, fuck. Uh, I don't think I have a choice in the matter anymore. I'm just pretty well fucked. And yeah, that's basically what I've been coming to terms with the last few months or so. And it's like, I don't know. All these people around me doing weird shit, former allies, now enemies. Somehow I'm enemy number one, which I kind of get 'cause it's me. But at the same time, it's like, I don't get where I'm kind of being tiptoed around. I'm not that really, am I that dangerous? I don't think so. I mean, I get that I can cause some trouble and shit, and maybe make a lot of people's lives living hell and stuff, but I'm not that bad. Come on. And it's not like I'm insane. I just have a ton of weird, non-rational thoughts because I'm a fucking weirdo, obviously. That over processes and overthinks and hyper focuses on damn near everything. And I got nothing better to do at the moment in time. So it's like, fuck it. I got nothing else to do. I'll start fucking with everybody else. And it's kind of Nicole's fault, honestly, because she went and got herself married and stuff, and now she won't marry me. So it's like, fuck. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know. It's like all these fucking connections reestablished themselves. And I'm just like, yeah, I really don't want to. I don't, no, 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 don't want to do it. Don't want to do it at all. Nope. And it's kind of weird. And people talk about like Ruckus being like the leader of that group and this and that. And I'm like, no, he's not. There's only one leader, and there's only, I mean, technically, you could say Reg was the closest thing to a co leader that that group had. And that's it. And Reg did his thing and got himself in some shit and blah, blah, blah. Ruckus was never, I mean, Ruckus, I don't care what anybody says. I don't even care if Ruckus talks shit about me. It's fine. I don't care. Because, we joke around, we talk shit, whatever, even if we're being honest and being, it doesn't make a difference to me. Dude never did no wrong to me. Uh, and I've gotten to the point where um, I really don't feel like I have any enemies. But at the same time, I really don't think I have many friends either. But at the same time, I think it's the best place for me to be. I don't think it's safe to be on either side. And anybody that's on either side, man, you need to watch your own ass because it's the people that are telling you shit that really should be careful around. Because I don't trust me. I'm starting to wonder if there's any actual decent ones on either side. Um, hmm, it's just, yeah. Oh, Lordy, you see, look, well, if you're talking about Mustang, I have her blocked on like 5 different channels. So how would I even know that she's in the chat in the first place? And it would help if she wasn't in every fucking chat that ever existed whatsoever. Yeah, it's called a block button. So, and stalking, yeah, I got better things to do. If I wanted to just fuck you over, home slice, I just show everybody all the shit that I have that I have. Goodbye. God, you see that? It's in my channel, and she's here. You get my point? I'm being stalked even here. She just proved my point by showing she's just stalking me. But no, that fucking pisses me off. It's like, how would y'all feel if, say, somebody did something really fucked up to you and you're a victim and all sort of shit? And then I went and hung out with them after the fact. It was all just chummy with them. Be kind of fucked up, wouldn't it? Definitely think so. But it is what it is. It saves me the trouble of weeding out shit. Straight up, plain and simple. Um, Yeah, I mean, I don't care anything like that. It's just like, I really just, yeah, I really not getting into it because I'm not even looking to bad talk her either. I hope she has the best life ever and things go amazingly great for her and she has no troubles whatsoever. I wish nothing but good. I want everybody. Just leave me the fuck alone. Period. Because we all know once I get mad, upset, set off, that's when all shit is going to break loose. We all know it. We know how I am. You know, it's like even now. Anytime I start a live, they're there. They're always watching. I usually have a member from the Cranks, Mean Girls, whatever you want to call it, which I don't get a problem with them, so that's cool. Probably recording me. I got multiple members, or at least one or so from the other group, you know what I'm talking about too, doing the same. And then I got that one. What's up, fat shit cat? What's up, my dude? How are you, fat shit cat? Meow. Fat shit cat, where you at? Fat shit cat, come here. Hello, baby. You're a fat shit cat. Yes, you is. Yes, you is. Yes. Meow. But it's like even now, they can't help themselves but to sit there constantly watching everything I do. And I don't know. Part of me wants to be disturbed about it. But at the same time, I'm kind of flattered. I know I shouldn't be, but still, it's kind of funny. It's like, you know what? I'm not subject to any of their bullshit. Uh, no side. I don't watch anything from the one side. I don't watch anything from the other side. I damn sure don't watch the person that I just did. As I say, and I will say again, I'm sorry, I don't watch your tracks. Oh, what do you want, Patsy Cat? Yes, yes, yes. I like you too. Yeah, cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You want to come with me when I move? Yeah. All right. But no, there's like a billion other crimes, and it's just time to move on. And yeah, to do that, I need to finish this Delphi crap. And I've learned that I have to do so. I think I'm going to have to go there. I don't want to go there. I think I have to go there. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. I'll probably do something better later on or whatever. It's a lot more in depth about the Dixie Mafia and all that other stuff. Because honestly, I was going to talk about the Lindsay Bluesiak case. There's always so many laws I'm going to put in. And I really don't like. I mean, I like to do the talking part. I feel like I'm a glorified researcher, and that's what it. Like I have the information, dude. I'm online. You're interrupting. That's rude. Okay, okay. Calm yourself, bro. Yes, I will get you the calculator. Chill. Jeez. So fucking good one. But yeah, it's like, well, it's like, where have you been? I've been right here. I mean, not as much as I have before, but yeah, uh, I got no reason to convalesce and all this other stuff like I did before. I'm looking at that group of people and being like, you know what? Is it really worth my time to get involved in all this bullshit? Yeah, and I started to think to myself, who or what do I need to? What's really important? And I don't know, like I said, either people that didn't believe me or wish bad things upon me, you know, so stuff. I could let that anger and aggression or whatever sink in and fucking go nuclear and fucking destroy everything. Or I can just say, fuck it. I got better things to do and have to worry about y'all bullshit. And that's where I found myself. And yeah, what's the point of another dumbass fight? I mean, I've gotten better at it. I've have remained calm and those other crap. But in reality, I just don't fucking care anymore. I still believe in my heart of hearts that the person that probably most likely, even though I don't like the way that the game travels, yes, Patsy Cat, I see you. You're cute. Okay. Yeah, the dude, now he's in fucking prison. And I've given everybody plenty of options to somehow, show otherwise. Nothing. Not one of these creators have provided a single thing that can somehow eliminate that man. And the very simple reasons that he is the main suspect in my eyes. I wouldn't. It's been damn near almost a year now since his conviction and stuff. I think. And nothing's changed. I think people are tacking on all this conspiracy theory shit, which, okay, I agree in some instances it should be looked at, but not in regards to Delphi. No, not one bit. Uh, you can make the same case for if they're making for Delphi, for Flora, for the other fighters, for all kinds of different shit. So it's like, well, but is it really, small town corruption and all kinds of fucking shit? Well, you already thinking that anyways before we even knew who fucking Richard Allen was in the first place? The way I say this, all these people, thousands of people at least now, working their asses off, and all that manpower, all those highly intelligent fucking people, um, all they seem to be able to do is make something out of nothing. To point out things that can't be proven, making theories and this and that. That does nothing. It doesn't help Richard Allen. It doesn't help fucking Lydia Reddy. It doesn't help the family. It doesn't help anybody. You know, it's very simple evidence, very simple logic that makes him a suspect in the first place. Why is somebody having to make up all these weird ass crazy things? And I know because I literally made the basis for all the bullshit that's coming since then. Uh, and I keep telling people that, but nobody seems to listen. It's like the story that they're getting, they're making way into a much larger fucking thing. Yeah, I made that fucking. And if you haven't been paying attention, I've called them out on it many times. I'm like, y'all, you do realize it's fucking my story. It's fucking bullshit. And I can tell you where it falls apart at and everything else. But what you never see is anybody calling me out. Oh, yeah. Well, if that's true, blah, blah, blah. Oh, Lord. Blah, 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 blah. Nobody likes you. And apparently you like me so much because you just won't leave me the fuck alone. Yo, you ain't getting a dick. Go away. Swear to God, people just don't get it. No means no. But, bitch, if it makes you feel any better, I'll tell you what, later on tonight, I'm gonna be on camera and everything for y'all motherfuckers. So y'all can see just how fucked up I am. And y'all, oh, it's all good. Or I could just say fuck you and not do whatever. See, no matter what, you'll still be sitting here watching. And you can go and talk about me on your channel and all this other shit. And you know what? I'm just not gonna give a fuck. Just like I haven't given a fuck. Not one single solitary minute, not even a simple 3 seconds have I spent in months now worrying about what the fuck you fucking shitheads fucking do. Any of you. I got a very small, very close knit group of friends. I make sure they're all right. and all that stuff. And then I'll do my own thing. I think I better shit too. I'd advise you to do the fucking same. But it seems like you're just stuck in the same spot, doing the same shit over and over again. And it's sad. I feel bad for you. Forget about me, because I'm nothing. I'm a piece of shit, like you all seem to think. Go, go live life. Do your amazing things elsewhere. Forget about the fucking retard in Florida. For God's sake. It's just so ridiculous. Why did I ever bring you up tonight? Because TJ asked me about the trolls, aka the stalkers. See, that's what y'all are hoping to do. No, what y'all really, you just can't help yourself because you're a fucking family. Just admit it. You hear every fucking episode. Right? If I just pop on here to talk about fucking how I think mice are inbred to do massive assassination, y'all would be right fucking there listening. It's just, how many channels are you going to create now? You probably got more channels than I do at this point. Fuck. I guarantee my whole band list is probably fucking Mustang. Mustang and fucking Paul. I wish the best of luck to y'all. But seriously, get a hobby. Do something better with your life. I think I know me more better than anybody in this entire world. To tell you, I just ain't worth this amount of bullshit. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry if you don't got much going on in your life or whatever. I mean, but shit. Get off the internet. Go touch the grass, man. Go out there and find somebody. Get happy. Have kids. Do something. Fucking. Because y'all want me to do is fight y'all. And I'm telling you, it just ain't worth it. It just ain't worth it. I can't even think of the last time y'all motherfuckers even made me mad. If I wanted to put it into all this, I could just, like I said, release all the information, all the fucking stuff, and all this other shit that I have, and all that. God knows whoever it is I'm talking about or whatever, who else gets involved and everything else, and real fucked up things that happen in that instance too. But like I said, I'm being calm, I'm being rational. Let's leave the bear alone. Don't bear. Because you know I'm a lot better at this. I'm a lot fucking more crazy. And I'm damn sure a lot more fucking maniacal and fucking evil than fucking you people are. Quit it. You can say you won. Run around and tell everybody, oh, we did this, we did that. Do whatever you got to do. As a therapist would say, get over it. Now, including my freaky ass stalkers, I just wanted to say I love you guys. I love you all. I wish the best of life to you all. I'm gonna go get me some weed and chill the fuck out and smoke out and get high. Maybe take a nap. I don't know. Probably not. I'll be back at some point. Uh, I got shit to do. And, most of y'all just think we're fucking damn. My time is way too valuable to waste on you scum. Okay? Toodles, chug chug. My friends, my actual people that I love dearly, y'all know who you are. Yeah, everybody have a great night. And seriously. Don't worry. Be happy. Yo! Happy motherfucking Halloween. Yeah, tonight's day, really. Yeah, I need to work on my card keeper writing, right? But, really, man, I do. I wish the best of life for all of you. Because, yeah, that plays over, dude. Sorry. It just is. It will be over soon enough. because I fucking leave in the end.